Hey, I'm Dr. Michael Lange. We want to age as gracefully as possible, don't we? So is there enough evidence out there that proves that certain specific nutrients, ingredients, or supplements can enhance, our skin, our joints, our hair, our nails? And there's a lot of great science that's come out recently with marine collagen tripeptides, riceramides, hyaluronic acid, and there's a new supplement called Dermaval. Well, we've taken all four of those and we've combined it in a supplement called Rejuvenate. 3 delicious flavors, chocolate, cherry vanilla, pink lemonade, and then we have it unflavored for those of you that want to just put it in your coffee in the morning. It's worth a try. I endorse it, obviously, 100%. If you don't like it, we'll give you money back. It's as simple as that. So check it out at Fortifeye.com.
When it comes to your health, are you seeing the check engine light come on more than normal? It's time to get under the hood. It's time for Ask the Doctor with Dr. Michael Lange. Sponsored by Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. Dr. Lange is a board-certified optometric physician and certified nutrition specialist, helping people see and feel better through proper nutrition for 25 years. The doctor is in. Call now with your questions at 813-282-8283. That's 813-282-8283. Here's your host, Dr. Michael Lange.
Good morning and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host as usual for, over 33 years. I'm Dr. Michael Lange, board-certified optometric physician, certified nutritional specialist, the founder of Lange Eye Care and Associates, the Lange Eye Institute, and Fortifeye Vitamins. This is a live call-in show dedicated to you, the listener, the consumer, the viewer. We're coast to coast on the Ask the Doctor radio network, and we're live video streaming all over the world. So it's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, just depending on what part of the globe you're watching. The live call-in show, the live call-in number is 813-282-8283. So no matter how simple or complicated your question is, I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. And as long as it's regarding nutrition or eye care of any type, you can give me a call. The consultation is free. This never replaces a medical evaluation or an eye examination, and this is for educational purposes only. So call me at 813-282-8283. And I also hear that we are the longest running live medical syndicated talk shows in the country at this time. So please don't hesitate. Picking up the phone, don't be shy, and give me a call. Also, you can learn more at drmichaellange.com, drmichaellange.com. Lange is Lange, and doctor is just DR, no period after it. So drmichaellange.com. And then learn about the supplements that I've developed and I've done the research on at fortifeye.com. That's Fortifeye, fortifeye.com. And I am supposed to tell everybody that December 27th, which is, I think, next Saturday, I will be live at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center in Clearwater, right there on McMillan Booth Road. So December 27th will be my last live appearance for the new year. And I also want to take this opportunity to welcome my co-host and good friend and colleague in the radio industry. And he's no newbie to talk radio. He used to co-host my show eons ago. and that's Roger P. Schulman. Good morning, Roger. Thanks for coming in and hosting the show with me.
Good morning, doctor. It's always fun to come in and talk about health.
Health is a very important topic,
It certainly is.
especially as we get closer to the new year. Everybody should have a New Year's resolution going right now, each and everybody out there. Remember, our New Year's resolution should be to live longer and be healthier, don't you think?
Good idea. And we can give the gift of health, of course, by getting your supplements and giving them to a friend or taking them yourself.
It's a good idea.
Certainly.
God made a pretty good body. I
Yep.
always say that God made a really good body. As long as we give it the right fuel, that body can really perform at optimal levels and live a long, healthy life. I mean, you see these people in blue zones living well over 100. And the reason for that is they're eating the right foods, they're exercising, they're reducing stress, and they're living for a long time. And today we're actually going to talk about how to decrease your risk of death before your time. Okay. We're also going to talk about ways of decreasing vascular health problems, how to stay cognitively functioning well until your old age, and how this is a good one, how not to die on an airplane.
Speaking of dying on an airplane, I have a very good friend who took a trip from Europe. It was a 10-hour plus flight. He ended up with life-threatening blood clots and is still undergoing treatment. He's probably going to be out for 3 months undergoing intensive treatment after this long flight on an airplane where blood clots developed. So this is quite a frightening situation.
Well, the gist of that story is what? A simple way to solve that is what? Just don't fly.
Well, yes, but most of us,
Right.
Trains don't go everywhere. It's hard to get a train to Europe. You can take a boat, I guess, but these long flights can be devastating. The seats are small. You can't get up. If you got a window seat, you don't want to walk over two people to get into the aisle to walk around, and the flight attendants usually don't like it if you're stomping around the airplane. So it's a serious problem.
Well, flying can be a serious problem, and certainly we'll talk about this. We'll address this, especially in certain age groups. Okay, the risk of vascular issues from flying, blood clots, something called DVT. Roger, do you know what DVT stands for?
I believe that is deep vein thrombosis, Dr. Lange.
You got it. So we don't want to get these clots, a deep vein thrombosis. We don't get pulmonary embolisms. All these rise significantly if you're flying, depending on the duration of the flight. All right. So it's not just the airplane; it's the duration of the flight and the duration of immobility. So you could literally be on a train if you just sat there and slept the whole time. You could have big problems. So all the studies that I've seen shows that if you're flying for 4 hours, no matter who you are, you're probably pretty safe. Less than 4 hours.
That's
okay.
Typical flight across the United States
Right.
is usually no more than 5. So
4 to 6 hours, you're increasing your risk of these clots and pulmonary embolisms and DVTs. 6 to 8 hours is a moderate risk, but 8 to 10 hours is a largely increased risk of having health issues. And so all is worse is if you're seated continuously. And a lot of people, what are they doing on the airplane? Because they're a little nervous. They're drinking a lot of what?
alcohol,
Booze.
and trying to sleep.
Right. And that's not good. Drinking alcohol and sleeping is one of the worst things you can do on an airplane because you're going to be dehydrated from the alcohol and also from the cabin pressure, and you're sitting sedentary. So that's a problem. So prolonged immobility causes venous pooling in your legs. The cabin, I mean, these pressurized cabins cause dehydration where your blood actually gets thicker, if you will.
Mhm.
And then the lower O2 cabin pressure can cause stress on endothelial lining of your blood vessels. And then if you sit that long period of time, especially if you're overweight, you get this compression behind your knees, and that reduces the blood flow going back to your brain and stuff like that. So it screws up your circulation. So people that are over 60, all right, are higher risk.
Right.
If you're overweight, if you smoke and you're dehydrated because you're drinking a lot of booze. So what do we do? I mean, how can we make flying safe? And people, we're getting ready to take your calls. I know a lot of people's on hold, But we want to address this because there's a lot of people out there flying during the holiday season.
This time of year is top flying season, and a lot of people do go for very long trips.
So what do? We walk on the airplane.
Get
for
up.
every hour,
yes.
you get up, you go to the bathroom, right? You walk down, walk back and forth a little bit, and you can simply do what they call ankle pumps. You're just pushing your ankles back and forth, your feet, kind of working out your calves while you're sitting there. Hydrate, drink lots of fluids, not lots of coffee, not lots of tea, not lots of booze, lots of water. All right. And then, especially if you're at a greater risk, you're older, you're a little overweight, you have some vascular issues, diabetes, high blood pressure, believe it or not, compression stockings, the old man socks, right?
Oh, yeah.
Compression stockings work very good. And then I think there's some evidence that if you take low-dose aspirin, baby aspirin, as long as you talk to your physician first, and then even omega-3, because the omega-3 is very important. So eat some fish, the week prior, take a good omega-3 like Fortifeye Super Omega. Omega-3 does a few things. It decreases platelet aggregation, and that means it makes the blood cells less sticky so they don't stick together. You get better nitric oxide signaling, so that improves blood flow, causes vasodilation. It reduces blood viscosity and also helps reduce inflammation. So omega-3 is very important. And this is a kicker. When you combine low-dose baby aspirin with omega-3, it increases something called protectins, all right, and resolvins from the omega-3 that also helps you have better vascular flow and decreases the chance of inflammatory problems and death on the airplane.
So this is a synergistic situation when you have the baby aspirin and the omega-3.
Right. And as long as you talk to your physician about it and you don't have any bleeding problems and things like that, it's probably relatively safe. But always talk to your physician. Remember, this is for educational purposes only. And we're getting ready to go to the phones. Remember, if you got a question, give us a call at 813-282-8283. You're listening to Ask the Doctor, right? We're going to Jeff first in Sun City Center. Jeff, good morning, and thanks for holding.
Good morning, gentlemen. My call is in reference to drusens on the optic nerve. And Dr. Lange, you and I have discussed this previously many months ago. And I believe I got a call from you the other day, but I couldn't get back to you. And I apologize for that.
Okay. So drusen on the optic nerve is relatively rare. It's usually a benign entity. It's got these fatty deposits that kind of come off of your optic nerve, and they appear to look kind of like rock candy, okay? And a lot of times doctors will misdiagnose this and think you have a swollen optic nerve, something like papilledema, when it's just drusen. And we have the ability, and a lot of eye doctors, not all of them, have the ability to image the optic nerve to help differentiate it between being a swollen optic nerve, being this lumpy rock candy appearance on your optic nerve. Now, drusen can, if they get really big, can cause visual field loss and visual field deficits. But usually, the lion's share of patients that I've seen with drusen over the last 30 years have really maintained relatively stable vision. And a lot of people are born with this. Some people can get certain types of drusen as they mature. But I would rather have optic nerve head drusen than, say, glaucoma advancing or macular degeneration advancing. And a lot of people who think we got drusen, then that means you have macular degeneration. But that does not. If you have drusen in the macula, yes, that is macular degeneration. And those are the ones that we talk about, carotenoids helping, lutein, zeaxanthin, mesozeaxanthin, astaxanthin, all helping to reduce inflammation in the retina and reduce oxidative stress and increase macular pigment density. I don't think those have been proven to be very effective for optic nerve head drusen. But then again, I don't think a lot of people have really studied that. So
I believe,
yeah, go ahead.
I believe you're correct. So far, my doctor has advised me to see a neuro-ophthalmologist. He has called them drusens on the optic nerve. He has not mentioned anything about being swollen.
Right.
And my deficit from the drusens has reached extreme. Blind in one eye, and the field vision is getting terrible in the other eye. I believe you said you were going to maybe obtain a device that may dissolve or remove drusens.
Yes, that's very true. And yeah, so you have more of an aggressive form of optic nerve head drusen. So yeah, there is a device called the Velita light therapy, and it uses a series of 3 different lights frequencies that have been shown in clinical studies to reduce drusen size. Now remember, this is FDA approved now for dry macular degeneration, for drusen that are in the macula. So it's not FDA approved for optic nerve head drusen, but however, like I said, it's probably never been studied for that. So who knows if it doesn't help reduce drusen on the optic nerve? I have no answer for that. I don't know if anybody has an answer for that yet. But I got to tell you this, Jeff, that with time and the next 3 to 5 years, we're literally going to go 100 years into the future in medical care. So you never give up hope. You keep the faith. And I think seeing a neuro-ophthalmologist is definitely a good idea. And then practicing the things that we talk about on this program, exercise, weight management, proper nutrition through the right diets like the Lange survival diet, the right supplements, all of that's going to be beneficial. Because remember this, Jeff, you see with your brain, not your eye. The eye is just the organ that transmits the image to your brain. So you want to keep your brain healthy, because one day, even patients that are listening that are totally blind, we will bring them out of the darkness as long as they have a healthy brain.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for the information. I certainly appreciate it, Dr. Lange and Mr. Schulman. You all have a great weekend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, we're getting loaded up. If you got a question, give us a call, 813-282-8283. That's 813-282-8283. And you can look at our supplements, especially the omega-3 that we're going to talk about a little more detail in a few minutes at fortifeye.com. That's FORTIFEYE. And I see somebody chiming in on Instagram saying, hey, I had a great show this morning on WRNO in New Orleans. Well, thank you. Yeah, we were on WRNO the hour before this in New Orleans. So we want to shout out to everybody in New Orleans. That's my stomping ground. And you see I'm sporting a Tulane sweatshirt right now, and now I'm putting on a blue fedora hat if you're watching me online. And Tulane is playing Ole Miss today in one of the playoffs. So I want to congratulate for Tulane for getting there. First off, Ole Miss is a really good team. It's going to be a good game. It's 3:00 today. Ole Miss already beat Tulane once, but maybe Tulane has it together, and I hope it's a good game. It's interesting that both coaches are leaving. Tulane is going to UF, and Ole Miss, I think, is going to LSU. What do you have to say about that, Roger?
Well, I wish them all well, and I hope they all win all of their games.
And I always say I'm like a part owner of Tulane. My daughter goes to Tulane, and that tuition ain't cheap.
I think you're building an entire building there, the Lange Hall of Education or something.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's see. I think Steve's been waiting patiently. Steve in Clearwater. Good morning, my friend.
Yes, and do you realize that all the money you're pumping out to at Tulane, the first 2 years, she could be doing this all online? I mean, it's just, I don't know why parents do this, but anyway.
But now, Steve, she would be missing out on the experience that she's having right now.
And the people you meet and network with for the rest of your life. That's the
true.
Fun thing.
And the main thing
that's
is,
true. I admit that.
I like seeing a smile on my daughter's face. And so that's worth everything in the world. I mean, she's a good kid. Tulane's a party school, but, she's not one of those party gals. I don't think she's ever had a hangover, and she is just a great kid, and she's making straight A's. And Tulane's a really good academic school, and it'll open up, hopefully a lot of good doors for her when she's ready to get in the working world, which hopefully will be at the Lange Eye Institute.
I shouldn't have butted in on your personal life there. One thing I wanted to talk about is, you're talking about the people on the plane flights with the thrombosis and everything. You want to make sure that when you take the aspirin, you're only taking a baby aspirin.
Right.
I've said this before, because the baby aspirin will block thromboxane, the bad prostaglandin, but if you get into a higher dose of aspirin, it will block the good prostaglandin called prostacyclin. And that's why I always tell you, like with Plavix, take a baby aspirin. Don't take more than 100 milligrams, because then you'll start getting the opposite effect. And for some reason, they don't explain that to patients. I don't know why they don't, but they don't. Because what's the average patient do when the doctor tells them to do anything? They double it, thinking it's going to be twice as good.
Right.
That's true of everything. One thing very quickly, and then I'm going to be very brief. The figures are coming back from 3i Atlas, which you're interested in, and there are remarkable results. And they're being embargoed right now, but they're going to be released. And some fantastic coincidences occurred during the passage of that thing.
Well, Steve, last night, it was supposed to pass closest to the Earth around 1 o'clock in the morning. So,
Right.
Of course, what was I doing? I was about on my back deck and looking up at the sky with my binoculars. And the sky is pretty big. I saw a lot of beautiful stars, but I didn't see anything that got me all excited. There wasn't any 3i Atlas I could see. And Roger was at the house yesterday evening, and we were looking. You didn't see it either.
I think it's all a bunch of poppycock and clickbait.
No, it's not. There's some very interesting things, and it wasn't meant to be a visual event. It was made to be a mathematical event. So the visual input is pointless.
I should have had my calculator then, calculating.
Now, one thing I always try to do is to say something relevant, and I never do, but I do. The one big difference is that is compared to most comets is that the nickel ratio to iron is very, very high. So how can I apply that to this program that deals with health? Okay, I looked into nickel, and nickel is considered an essential element. It's now considered essential. We cannot get along without nickel. Do you remember the old nickel? Do you remember the old Sinclair gasoline commercial? Sinclair puts that nickel in, puts that magic nickel in. Only Sinclair gasoline has nickel, nickel, nickel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm humming that every day.
I'm much too young for that. I don't remember it.
Here's why did they put that in there? Gasoline is hydrocarbons, right? We process carbohydrates. Notice the reverse in syllables. Hydrocarbons, carbohydrates. What it does, it acts as a catalyst to break down the hydrocarbons.
Right.
So the essentiality in the human body is probably something necessary to catalyze the breakdown of carbohydrates. So we don't know that. We don't know exactly why it's essential, but that might be one of the reasons.
Interesting.
So
all right.
That's it for today.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay. God bless you.
Have a good one. Bye-bye. So the gist of this story, Roger, is we're going to suck on some nickels to help us metabolize the carbohydrates a little faster and lose body fat, right?
That's a wonderful idea, Doctor. I'm going to get some immediately.
No, please don't do that. Anybody, do not do that. We're just, joking around a little bit. Do not take us seriously all the time.
Yeah, we're being silly this morning.
All right, let's go. We're going to give the phone line out one more time. Then we're going to take Taylor. 813-282-8283. You're listening to Ask the Doctor. I'm Dr. Michael Lange with my co-host, Roger P. Schulman. If you've got a question, give us a call, 813-282-8283. Remember, December 27th, next Saturday, the last day I'll be at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center, and we will be doing a show live next Saturday. So that'll be our last show of the year. We'll talk about New Year's resolutions like we do every show. All right, let's go to the phones. Taylor in Indiana. Taylor, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Mike. Thanks for taking my call once again. I always enjoy being on the show. So cognitive and brain health, should there be specific functional ingredients I should be looking for brain health in products such as pre-workouts or protein or post-workouts? I know there's several different functionals on the market, but I want to make sure I'm finding it in the right place. And if so, if there are functional ingredients, is this something that Fortifeye would have in the portfolio?
That's a great question. Taylor always has some great questions. He's obviously in tune with nutrition. So first off, I always recommend everybody eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, okay? And this is where the carnivore diet, it becomes a little bit lacking. So eating plenty of organically grown fruits and vegetables, and you can go to my Lange Survival Diet, Google that, because I pick the fruits and vegetables that do not have a lot of pesticides, that don't have a lot of lectins and gluten and phytic acid and protease inhibitors and oxalates, all the anti-nutrients. So ideally, keeping your body weight at a normal rate, a little cardio, weightlifting, resistant exercise, lots of fruits and vegetables, clean protein. That's first and foremost, okay? But then a lot of people aren't going to do this. And so they need, especially as they age, they need some assistance for, brain functioning, for lowering inflammation, oxidative stress in the brain, for helping working memory, recall, to help reduce brain fog. Also, athletes, they want to be able to think quicker. All right. People that are gamers, they want to be able to think really quick, instant return of memory. Even people that are CEOs or just about anybody and everybody. And there are some specific nutrients that have been studied exclusively for long periods of time. And we got a lot of these studies on our website. And some of the studies, some of the nutrients that come to mind are a good triglyceride form or re-esterified triglyceride form omega-3, like Fortifeye Super Omega or Fortifeye Super Omega-3 Max. These cross the blood-retinal barrier, get to the brain. And then carotenoids like lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin. These are crucial, all right, for not only brain health, but for retinal health, heart health, skin health. And that would be like Fortifeye Focus. And then to take it to the next level, we go to Fortifeye Focus and Brain, which has the lutein, the zeaxanthin, the astaxanthin. And then we add a neurotropic called cognizine. And cognizine is a trademark patented form of acetylcholine that has a lot of great clinical studies behind it, showing it helps working memory. And this is the one that I've talked a lot about, giving my mom after 2 months being on Fortifeye Focus and Brain, her memory has improved dramatically. I mean, she had full-blown dementia 7 years ago. And now, I mean, you can sit down with my mom, Roger, you can sit down with my mom and you would never know she has dementia.
No, perfectly normal conversation, a delightful lady. And she was even dancing with one of the guests at your exciting party last night.
Yeah, that's right. She's a wild woman. I mean, I think she's getting a little wilder as she gets older. It might be the Fortifeye Focus and Brain. So omega-3, Taylor, omega-3, lutein, zeaxanthin, astaxanthin, and cognizine. And there's some other things out there, but we don't want to throw too much at you. I think that is going to be beneficial. And certainly if you're an athlete, it's going to help with muscle recovery as well. It's going to help with endurance. So these things would be beneficial. And definitely you got Fortifeye Super Omega, Fortifeye Super Omega Max, Fortifeye Focus, and Fortifeye Focus and Brain. But you don't need to take all 4 of those. You would just pick 2 of those. So Super Omega and Focus, or Super Omega and Focus and Brain.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing those. I think that gets me started on the right foot, at least with my identification. I think with new products, as I continue to add to that routine of supplementation and adding different things, on top of the typical fish oil and creatine and protein, I feel like brain health is becoming that next step, at least in my journey. And so being able to identify those functionals is going to be super helpful. So thanks for taking my call.
And Taylor, let me chime back in, Taylor. And these are nutrients that you don't get in your typical diet. So a lot of people are eating plenty of protein and a lot of people aren't eating enough protein, but the lion's share of people aren't eating organic baby leaf kale for the lutein, orange bell peppers or goji berries for the zeaxanthin, wild Alaskan salmon for the astaxanthin, and then organ meats for the acetylcholine. So most people aren't eating those foods, and that's why those can be supplemented. As a matter of fact, we're working on a new supplement for kids that have this in clinically studied amounts, and some new studies just came out showing how much a child, 5 years of age, would need with astaxanthin and lutein and zeaxanthin. And we're working on some gummies right now for that. And Roger just tested the prototypes. This is the first time we mentioned this. The prototypes last night. What did you think?
Delicious. Really too good, actually. I liked them a lot. I wanted to take another one. They were very, very good. And kids won't have any problem eating those.
Right. So that's kind of exciting. That's an arena we're going to expand into for kids' nutrition to help our kids and our grandkids excel. Because let's face it, a lot of parents are not feeding the children the nutrients they should. And a lot of kids would just push it away and the parents won't force them to eat it. And I understand that. But if you have a gummy that tastes delicious, then it might be a way to help our kids and our grandkids excel into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a gummy application kind of fits that bill too. And if it tastes good too, then it seems like it's going to be a nice 1-2 punch, especially for kids growing up and getting to that 3, 4, 5 age range to where it's time to start, honing in on some of that. And that's true. What you mentioned earlier, the parents are in a fast-paced environment, especially if they both work. And so, nutrition sometimes might fall to the wayside. So that's great that you're expanding into that. Is that Fortifeye's very first kids application?
We actually had a Fortifeye Chewy, about 6 or 7 years ago for kids, and it was delicious and it was a big hit. But I don't have all the money in the world, contrary to what some people think. And so what happened, the company made a pilot study where we were able to buy, about 2,000 of these, and it went pretty well. And then I understand maybe the next batch we should order 5,000 bags of it. But no, they wanted 20,000 bags. And so I had to can that. So I'm working with some gummy companies that are going to work with me because I told them, look, it's going to be a big hit, but we want to start small and we'll grow it. So companies that work with me, I work with them and we'll make it a big hit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great. Thanks so much for taking my call and answering some of those questions. Much appreciated. And Merry Christmas to both of you as we head into the holiday season.
Thank you, Taylor. And Merry Christmas to your family and your loved ones. Thanks for the call. All right. We're getting ready to go to the phones. We're going to talk to Tony in just a second. So we'll just hold on, Tony, for just a second. Okay. And I think you're biting at the bit, Roger.
Yes, we were going over some studies, one from the past from the American Journal of Preventive Medicine and some other studies that have come out. And it shows that resistance training, total of 10 studies, including a meta-analysis, compared to doing no resistance training, a little bit, any amount of resistance training reduces the risk of all-cause mortality by 15%. And if you do more, it's even better. And there's a meta-study, a combination of 4 studies that have proven this. Now, resistance training, let's define that, Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Resistance training, also called strength training, is exercise that makes your muscles work against an external force, resistance, to build strength, muscle size, and endurance using methods like weights, bands, machines, or even your own body weight, like push-ups and squats, forcing muscles to adapt, creating microscopic tears that repair to become stronger, improving metabolism, bone density, and overall physical function. Now, you do not need, Doctor, a full-size professional gymnasium for this. You can use a band attached to a hook in your garage or anywhere. You can do push-ups. You can do things that get your body moving. And the results have been absolutely spectacular. Any movement at all reduces your mortality by 15% and a reduction in death of 27% was observed at around 60 minutes per week of resistance.
Per week, not per day.
10 minutes a day is 60 minutes per week. So
what was that percentage? 27%.
27%. A maximum risk reduction of 27% was observed at around 60 minutes per week of resistance training.
Who can't do 10 minutes a day of resistance training, right? Who can't? I mean, most people can, right?
10 minutes a day is not much.
And you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to have a mega weight group. You can have, like last night, we did weightlifting, but then we introduced you to some of these really cool bands.
Yes.
And you got a pretty good workout.
And you don't need gym clothing. You don't have to go and get a membership. You don't have to do anything. This can be done at home.
And
anywhere.
the bands you can put in your suitcase and you can fly on the plane with them. You know, Fortifeye needs to come out with bands.
Yes, you do. But this is such a earth-shattering study that this minor amount of exercise can reduce the risk of dementia, heart problems, bone density problems. Right. It's just an amazing study.
And we're going to talk after we do go to Tony, we're going to talk about resistance training and dementia.
Oh, yes.
So it helps that too. A lot of people don't realize it. All right, we're going back to the phones. And Tony has been waiting patiently. Tony, my good friend, this is Tony and Dunellen. This is the fat-burning, anti-aging, muscle-building machine. I hope that's the Tony.
That's the one and only Tony. Good morning, Dr.
Hi,
Lang.
Tony.
Good morning, Roger P. Schulman.
Good morning. Good morning, my friend.
So I'm calling in to give you a little update. I was losing weight. I was doing low weight, high repetition. I switched gears when I started getting a lot of loose skin and went to a higher weight with low repetitions to build size to take up some of that loose skin. Well, I got on the scale this morning. I am 277 from over 520. I religiously take your supplements, the Fortifeye Fit Pro, the creatine, my HMB with D, the Rejuvenate, the fish oil, the blackcurrant seed oil, the Fortifeye Focus. I mean, there's so many. If you look at my medicine cabinet, it's just a poster boy for Fortifeye. But your stuff works. I got a rack system, brand new. You know, Roger just said you don't need a big rack system. Well, I'm at the point where I need a big rack system, and it's being delivered today. My UPS guy is going to hate me because it's in 3 100-pound boxes, and then I'm going to be slinging impact guns and wrenches to put this thing together by myself. So
That's
that
exciting.
should be a workout in itself. I can't wait. I wanted it for a long time, and my wife and my dad went halves on it for Christmas for me, and it's being delivered today. So we'll be banging and slamming again. But the show is going off without a hitch today. You haven't had one bobble yet, and that's a beautiful thing because everyone stays tuned in and they don't get frustrated and leave. But yeah, and just to touch on your mom, when I was down there 4 weeks ago, whenever it was, your mom and I had conversations that she didn't remember my name, but she remembered exactly who I was. And she says, "I'm sorry, I don't remember your name." I was like, "It's Tony." "Oh, Tony, my son Michael talks about you all the time." Now, anybody that's got any touch of dementia is not going to put 2 and 2 together like that.
Right.
This lady is as sharp as a tack. You would never know that dementia was kicking in her door at one
How old
point.
is she now?
98.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And then we were dancing. We had a good time. Big hug. I love your mom, man.
I got
Your
a
mom's
video of
great.
you dancing with Betty Ruth McFadden Lang.
Yeah, and don't you think when I told you that my wife was going to say you have no excuse not to dance with me? She did.
You know, and I want to just digress a little bit, Tony. You know, we were talking about resistance training and how we say you only need 10 minutes a day, but that's for decreasing chances of mortality. That's death. So that's just for older people or younger people to help reduce their mortality and by 27% if you do 60 minutes a week. But that's not for really true anti-aging and building muscle. And with you, you know, you've lost that weight, and now we're trying to build that muscle to fill in some of that loose skin. And so build muscle, you're going to have to do a lot more than 10 minutes, you know, a day. And resistant training is great. But for the lion's share of our listeners out there, especially, you know, the over 80, 85, 90 crowd, you know, band training, resistant training, you know, like my mom gets up in the gym and she works out for about 10 or 15 minutes, and that's about it. But for building muscle like you are, yeah, you got to get into that gym or have your own gym, and you got to crank and you got to pound the protein.
Yeah, I do 2 body parts a day and then rotate every day, Monday through Friday. Unless I miss a day during the week, then I work out on Saturday. But yeah, I'm in there probably a good 50 to an hour and 15 minutes between 2 body sets, trained to failure. And, you know, that new chest machine that I picked up off of Marketplace has been unbelievable. The pump that I get from that. And I'm actually feeling a little sore the next day. So I know I'm working more muscles now than I did on a regular flat bench.
Tony, I got a question for you. Now that you lost all of that huge amount of weight, how are your joints, your legs and knees and ankles feeling?
My back is still an issue. It always will be because of the motor vehicle accident.
Right.
But my knees, which was giving me a problem, my hips, not being able to walk, My ankles, my legs swelling up with edema. I mean, I remember in the beginning with this, when Mike took me under his wing with this journey, I would send him pictures of my feet, and they were swollen up, look like bologna things before you slice them. I had no vascularity. I had where the socks would cut off my circulation. You would see that indentation. I could take my shoes off at the end of a 12-hour shift at work, and my legs are fine. Everything is good. I have no swelling, no knee pain. My hips don't bother me no more. I mean, that's, everyone's like, that's a lot of weight. And then you sit down and think about it. Take 250 pounds on a bar, pick it up a couple times, and just imagine me walking around with that every single day.
And actually multiply that by 4, because on your knees, it's 4 times the pound you've lost. So you lost 250 pounds times 4. You took 1,000 pounds off of your knees, Tony.
Good heavens.
And also, I'm going to, I know you're okay with me talking about you, so there's no HIPAA issue here. But Tony also, when I saw him, years ago, I said, if you don't change, you're going to go blind before you die from diabetic retinopathy. And that was one of the things that really, I think, sparked his interest of losing that weight. And his diabetic retinopathy has improved dramatically. The glaucoma's improved dramatically. I mean, everything in your life has improved. And I am so proud of you, Tony. And, you're going to go to the grave when you're 110.
From your lips to God's ears, buddy.
All right, we're going to move
and
on.
Roger P. Schulman is still going to outlive me.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, Roger's doing very well. I think Roger, he's changed his lifestyle and his diet and his supplements also. And Roger, you would never think Roger is as old as he is. He's not that old, but he's a little older.
I'm pretty
than me.
old. I'm pretty old.
All right, Tony.
So
hey,
next time we go for a bike ride, Roger, make sure the electric bike is on before you jump on it.
Those electric bikes are pretty hard to ride when you don't turn on the battery. Yes,
this is true. Tony, thanks for the call, my friend, and Merry Christmas to you and all your loved ones.
Merry Christmas to you guys, AJ, and Vegas too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. We're getting ready to take the next call. You're listening to Ask the Doctor. I'm Dr. Michael Lange here with my co-host, Roger P. Schulman. Not doctor yet, but you still have time to become a doctor, Roger.
I'll enter medical school, and I don't think I can get in.
And remember, December 27th, I will personally make an appearance at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center from 1 to 3 on Millhopper Road in Clearwater. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jerry in Ocala. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Oh, good morning, Dr. Lange. I have a question for you on hibiscus teas. There's various types, I guess, I hear about that can help you. Like if you got high blood pressure, it could lower it and things like this. Do you have a product in your program for this type of thing?
Well, I don't have anything, any type of teas at all at this time. Hibiscus tea has some interesting health benefits, but yes. I really like, believe it or not, the tea I like the best is matcha tea. Organic matcha tea. I like green tea, organic green tea, but matcha tea is kind of like a concentrated green tea because there's a lot of good science, a lot of studies with the polyphenols that are in matcha tea helping with lots of ailments. And you can just Google health benefits of matcha tea, but you want to make sure it's an organic matcha tea. And I think you'll find if you do a comparison to the tea you mentioned in matcha tea, I think you'll be very fascinated. There's nothing wrong with one that you mentioned, but matcha is my favorite.
Oh, how do you spell matcha, please?
M-A-C-H-A, matcha.
Oh, matcha. Oh,
matcha.
I got you. Thank you. Oh, I'll look that up, like you say, Dr. Lange.
Look that up and start having some matcha tea. You can put a little lemon in it, put a little raw local honey in it or Manuka honey, and you got a powerhouse anti-aging little concoction.
Do you market any of this type of thing in your program?
Nope, not at this point, but who knows? Okay. Maybe down the road. I don't know. But at this point, I got enough on my plate.
Yeah, you sure do. You got a lot of things. Wow. So I appreciate your program and everything. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
All right, Jerry, you take care. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
All right, Roger. What you got there? Got more information we're going to talk about?
Well, I have some papers here, a study that was based on the Mayo Clinic, which is the best hospital in the world up in Rochester, Minnesota. And they have done some studies on heart failure. And they find that higher omega-3 levels are associated with reduced heart failure risk and death. And you have an omega-3 supplement that is very highly regarded and very pure. They found that people with the highest plasma omega-3 fatty acid levels, top 20%, were 21% less likely to develop heart failure over the 13.7 years of follow-up studies compared to people with the lowest levels, bottom 20%. What's more, just looking at the 1,239 people with a diagnosis of heart failure at enrollment, those in the top 20% of plasma, the most omega-3, 50% less likely to die from any cause during the follow-up.
Wow.
Compared to those in the bottom 20%. So eating fish and taking good quality omega-3 supplements can apparently prevent death and AFib from heart failure.
This is very interesting and fascinating studies. I mean, here we go. We've got a nutrient, a natural omega-3 you can get from consuming the right form of fish, or the right form, and we'll talk about that, of omega-3. And also in that same study, there was a meta-analysis with over 150,000 people in it that showed that elevated omega-3 reduced the risk of a myocardial infarction by 13%, but better yet, a fatal myocardial infarction, that's a heart attack, a fatal one, by 35%.
These are huge numbers.
Yep, those are huge numbers. And then a lot of people have seen a study, and it seems like Big Pharma was promoting this, talking about how omega-3 may cause atrial fibrillation. And I always kind of poo-pooed that whole idea. But what happens, those studies were using mega dosages of more like prescription fish oil, the ethyl ester molecule, which I've kind of condemned for the last 20 years because that has ethanol attached to it. It's a cheap way of making omega-3. And there's a few good companies out there that make what we call triglyceride form omega-3 or reesterified triglyceride form. That's RTG. And that's our Fortifeye Super Omega and Fortifeye Super Omega-3 Max. So the newest study, and this came out really recently, and a lot of you out there have sent me an email not too long ago regarding omega-3 and atrial fibrillation. Well, there's a new study, Journal of American Heart Association. That journal shows that if you have increased levels of omega-3 in your blood, it decreases the risk of atrial fibrillation, decreases it. And it all has to do with consistency, quality, and absorption. So remember, quality. You want quality fish oil? Make sure it says TG form or RTG form, preferably from Norwegian fish oil, not Norwegian fish, but manufactured in Norway. Oslo, Norway is what the Bordeaux region is to wine. Oslo, Norway is to omega-3. These Norwegians have developed the best technology at concentrating and purifying omega-3. So once again, quality omega-3.
You actually visited the plant to inspect it, and you found it to be a clean and wonderful place, didn't you?
Right. Pharmaceutical plant, amazing. You had to gown up and mask and glove just to walk around in it. They have special door systems that are negative pressure, so nothing comes in there, and you have to go into a clean room before you even go in. So it's pretty amazing. The Norwegians make the best fish oil, and their COA is higher than anything else. There's no impurities at all, because a lot of companies, we sell a lot of this omega-3, and a lot of companies come to me to try to get me to use theirs, whether it's from Alaska or Peru or wherever, and I look at their COA, and it doesn't compare to the Norwegians. So if they have a way of purifying it like the Norwegians, and it's at a better price, and I can pass that price on to my consumers, we'll certainly do that. And we evaluate that yearly. But remember, consistency, quality, and absorption is what's going to help reduce the chance of heart problems. And that's what Fortifeye Super Omega is all about, or Fortifeye Super Omega-3 Max. There's a quick way you can actually test your omega-3 to see if it's good or bad. Squeeze the contents into a styrofoam cup. So if you bought that typical omega-3 where there was 10,000 pills for $9.99, squeeze those contents into a styrofoam cup, and you'll see it eat through that cup in about 5 minutes. That's because of the ethanol that is attached to the backbone. That causes it to go rancid very quickly. It's unstable, has to pass through your liver every single day. So remember, look for reesterified triglyceride or triglyceride form omega-3, or simply go to fortify.com and look at Super Omega-3 Max. The Max is 15% more potent than the Super Omega. So if you're a little bit overweight, you got lots of inflammation, elevated triglycerides, elevated cholesterol, really dry eye, go with the Omega-3 Max.
And it's a great present for Christmas if you can get some, give the gift of health.
I agree. Give the gift of health. And Roger, you take Super Omega, and if I recall, it helped your shoulders.
Yeah, I had a shoulder where I thought I had a little injury from my Army days and from having dogs jerk on my arm and pull my shoulder out. And I thought I was going to have some surgery. I was getting cortisone shots in that every few months. Since I started taking your supplements about, 15, 16 years ago, I forgot which arm it was. It really made it go away. It is just amazing.
And you do amazing in the gym. I mean, for your age, you're pounding some pretty heavy weight these days. And ever since we put you on the Fortifeye Fit Pro and the Pure Creatine, you're doing even better. So you're reversing the aging. I'm proud of you too, Roger.
Thank you, doctor.
So everybody, is toward the end of the year. You still have time to get in and use your HSA account, health savings account. A lot of you, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you can come to the Lange Institute and you can use it for vitamins or glasses or anything like that. And remember, if you're not happy with the eye care that you're getting, come see Dr. Lange, Dr. Summerton, Dr. Caputi at the Lange Institute in the Villages, Florida. That's where we hail from. The Lange Institute is a state-of-the-art, really large eye care center. We've got just about every advanced piece of technology there. And you can learn about it at drmichaellange.com, drmichaellange.com. And they got the phone number for the Lange Eye Institute there. Also, drmichaellange.com will take you to the Fortifeye website and some of the other websites that we have going on. So, Roger, you got about 8 seconds to tell everybody goodbye.
Well, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. Have a glorious holiday season and be safe.
And, Roger, thanks for coming in and hosting Ask the Doctor. I really appreciate that. All right, everybody, I'm Dr. Michael Lange, helping keep America fit and healthy. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. We're out of here.